It's Saturday morning, I'm Steve, and I'm bringing you the Saturday morning TV revival for the generation that remembers Trevor and Simon, Zig and Zag, and Dick and Dom. This week we've got Hobby Hangout, where we share our weekly hobby goals. In Bit by Bit, we're diving back into the D&D Player's Handbook. That Pokémon returns for more borderline debauchery. Hit and Miss takes us into the best and worst of this week's comics. We'll have a retro throwback with the spotlight. And finally, what's in the box? Well, who knows? We'll find out. So pour yourself a bowl of icicles, get comfy on the floor, and lock in for your Saturday morning TV revival. We're starting at the hobby bench. It's time for Hobby Hangouts. What was your hobby goal for last week, and did you achieve it? Maybe you wanted to listen to the entire Blink-182 back catalogue in order. Maybe you wanted to learn how to put up a shelf to display your crocheted vegetables. Or maybe you wanted to tackle Snowdon on a whim. Whatever your goals were, share them in the comments. This is our place to encourage each other to celebrate our wins and be proud of everything we achieved last week. My goal was to build some Warhammer models. I'm trying to get all my models painted before buying anything new, but with a tournament coming up in November, I wanted drop pods as part of my army. So I allowed myself a little bit of a fun splurge. I spent an evening gluing them together on Zoom with a friend. It went well, apart from spilling a pot of plastic glue on one piece. It's held most of the details, so we'll just call that bit the back of the model and hope it won't be noticeable once painted. If life got busy or energy was low and you didn't reach your goals, don't beat yourself up. Hobbies should be fun. And if you bit off a bit more than you could chew, make next week's goal smaller. It's always better to achieve something small than fail a big task. And talking about hobby goals, I think it's time to make some new ones. What are your hobby goals for next week? Are you learning to cook, finishing that book that's been sat on your nightstand for months, or making the effort to leave the house and hang out with friends in person? I want to hear your goals in the comments so we can all encourage each other to achieve them. I'm just coming in here to give a few shout outs to some of last week's viewers who shared their goals. Desned Citrus was making a poster to recruit co-workers for Dungeons and Dragons. Andre 2007 Costa just started college studying electronic systems and computers, and Thomas Leonard 4703 was hoping to ace their horticultural exams. Drop your goals for next week in the comments and I'll pick some favourites for next week's show. Right, back to the hobby bench. For the past few weeks, I've been encouraged by TikTok user 10,000 Bees at Your Door to finally paint one of my Warhammer centrepiece models. I've had plenty of excuses. I wanted to finish other models, test paint schemes, and prepare for my upcoming tournament. There are no more reasons to delay this model apart from being daunted by the idea of painting it. So I'm taking the plunge this week. I will not finish this whole model. My goal is to complete all the green armor and leave the extra details for next week. For anybody who doesn't know Warhammer, this character comes from a very fiery planet. The green armor will get hand-painted flames, which will be my first attempt at any freehand. Even if I only complete the green armor and not the flames, I will be happy. I don't want to rush, and I'm excited to start. So what are your hobby goals for next week? Let me know in the comments, and we will continue Hobby Hangout back at the hobby bench next week. And from one nerdy pastime to another, let's look at a retro RPG. This week's spotlight is shining on the August 2002 edition of the official PlayStation 2 magazine. Today, it gives us a story of how a great game can grow out of the worst situations. What am I talking about? this review for Kingsfield, the Ancient City, the fourth outing in the RPG series, which the magazine jokingly says stands for rather poor game. The article is dismissive. It says the combat is laughably easy. You just wait until a monster reaches the edge of its patrol zone and then stab it in the back. And the game is basically a constant cycle of kill monster, grab treasure, upgrade equipment, and then find tougher monsters. Visually, it looked poor. The small field of vision meant missing things was common, and the only workaround was to rotate 360 degrees in the middle of every area, which with the slow frame rate was a very few boring seconds indeed. The magazine concluded by saying the game is dull and gave it 3 out of 10. So why is this interesting? I'd never heard of it, so I did some research. The first 3 games were PlayStation, and number 4 came out on the PS2. The franchise disappeared until 2009 when the studio released its spiritual successor, Demon's Souls, which was highly acclaimed, and then released the spiritual successor to that, Dark Souls, Bloodborne, and Elden Ring. Let me know in the comments if you remember playing Kingsfield. So if you want to see where Dark Souls began, find a copy of Kingsfield, the Ancient City, but do not expect it to be any good. Okay, magazine's away. It's time for Lick That Pokémon. Do you think you could lick a Lickitung before a Lickitung could lick you? And would you want to lick a Lickitung? Or should Lickitung always be the licker and not the licky? These are the questions we ask on the game show that nobody requested. It's time for this week's edition of Lick That Pokémon. The rules are simple. It's a trading card pack battle. We have Prismatic Evolutions versus Journey Together, but the winning pack is not decided on the most valuable card, is not decided on the best looking card. It is solely decided on which Pokemon looks the most lickable. I'm not sure this needs any more explanation. It speaks for itself. Let's get these open. First up, we've got Prismatic Evolutions. In my eyes, the most hyped set out there, or over-hyped set out there, should I say. There are far too many cards in this, and unless you're a fan of an Eevee or an Evolution, there's just nothing really that exciting in there. We've got a Pokeball. It's kind of cool. Hey, it's me again, and I need your ideas. I've collected Pokemon cards since 1999, which means I have an endless supply of energy cards I do not know what to do with. It doesn't feel right to just throw them in the bin, so fill your comments with suggestions of fun and creative ways to use them up. And maybe I will try some in a future video. Anyway, back to Lick That Pokémon. Journey Together is not going to open itself. Right, Journey Together. I think this is an appropriately hyped set. I think it's very forgettable and nobody really talks about it anymore since Team Rocket came out and the Megas are coming. So, yeah. I think there's some alright cards in here. The Furret looks really nice. We've had nothing but really trainer cards and supporter cards. Right, let's see what we've got that could be exciting. I mean, neither pack were the best. I've never had so many trainers. We've got clay Pokemon. I know that's nothing to do with licking, but I love those Yukimori clay Pokemon cards. From Prismatic, we got a lot of food, but food is not lickable. Food is not what I want. People are also not lickable. Right, I think I've picked my winner. There are no clear outstanders here. But for probably controversial reasons, I'm going to pick this Fungus because we all know the stories of what happens when you lick certain mushrooms. And who knows that maybe after we lick this, we'll be in for a great time. Fungus, you're this week's Lick That Pokémon winner. So what do you think? Did I crown the correct winner, or would you have picked a different card? And let me know if you want a Lick That Pokémon pack battle in a future episode, and we can make it happen. You can put those tongs away though for another week. This taste bud tantalizing ridiculousness is over. But if anybody asks about it, tell them you were grossed out and repulsed and you couldn't look away. And now we do the walk of shame into bit by bit for some Dungeons and Dragons inspiration. This is Bit by Bit, the part of the show where we break something down bit by bit. We are making our way through the player's handbook, teaching you the rules to Dungeons and Dragons 1 week at a time. And this week, it's heroic inspiration. In D&D, you are a brave hero in a magical world, like a big strong knight or a sneaky elf or a wizard who goes pew pew with their magic. Sometimes when you're fighting the big scary dragons or doing something amazing like saving a town or making your friends laugh when they are scared, a special spark shines inside you. And that spark is called heroic inspiration. Heroic inspiration is like getting a magical gold star from the dungeon master. It's a little reward for doing something super cool, brave, or kind. When you have heroic inspiration, you can roll your dice again when something does not go your way. You earn it when you make a choice that fits your character, makes everyone at the table go, whoa, that was cool, or makes people laugh or cry in a good way. Let me know in the comments the coolest reason you were ever awarded heroic inspiration. You can only hold one heroic inspiration at a time, so use it when you really need it. Now, are you ready to be awesome and earn some sparkly heroic inspiration on your next quest? Enough about dice. Let's talk about blue men and killer AI. Welcome to Hit and Miss, the part of the show where I present the best and worst of my week. This week we are back with comics. In front of me, I have Kill or Be Killed, along with Captain Planet issue 3. One of these was the best thing I read this week, and one of them was the worst. I will give you my quick 30-second reviews, and while I do, let me know in the comments which you think is which before I reveal it at the end. Let's start with Captain Planet issue 3. This series is a reboot of Captain Planet. Captain Planet is the same character from the 90s, but with a new set of Planeteers. I approached this series blind. I remember the cartoons as a kid, but I would not have called myself a fan. The comics look great. It has that nostalgic vibe you would expect. It's very colour driven, like Power Rangers, and that comes across in the artwork. Scenes with the Planeteers are bright and vibrant, and scenes with villains have a drab yellow-green hue, giving them a very evil edge. The plot is thin. An ancient priestess who protects the world's energy has been kidnapped, and it's up to the Planeteers and Captain Planet to save her. Without that Captain Planet element, the story doesn't go deep. It feels more like a teen superhero coming-of-age story than a darker adult reboot, which is fine as long as you know that's what you're getting. There are also some nods to modern sustainability issues, which is cool, and I hope that goes deeper into things like AI, smartphones, and fast fashion. My biggest issue is that the comic doesn't know its audience. If it's aimed at millennials, it should lean harder into that 90s nostalgia. If it's aimed at kids, it should be a full modern superhero book. The potential is there, but it needs to find its footing. So that is Captain Planet issue 3. Before I talk about Kill or Be Killed, I need your help. What comic series would a new reader enjoy? What are you most looking forward to, or what series have a great jumping on point? Let me know in the comments for new readers. Next week, I will read out the best suggestions and maybe add some to my own pull list. Kill or Be Killed is not a traditional comic. Marketed as a graphic novella, it's a 50-page short story reading closer to a book. The premise is chilling. People are contacted on social media and told to murder someone within 5 minutes, or a close relative dies. It has a strong Black Mirror vibe. The story follows a previous victim trying to track down the friendship killer. The artwork does a great job and has a slightly uncanny AI generated feel which matches the story, even though it's not AI made. However, most of the artwork is displayed separately from the story, appearing opposite the text rather than integrated throughout, which could have made the book feel more exciting visually. The story is creepy, like true crime meets futuristic tech. It's compressed though, with new characters conveniently providing the exact information needed to move the plot forward. The ending is underwhelming and, minor spoiler, disconnected, but the ride getting there is enjoyable. As a concept, it is strong and engaging, and I would happily read more from AWA, who plan to release further entries in 2006. Which came out on top. Both had their flaws and strengths, but my hit of the week, it's Kill or Be Killed for being unusual and different, which means my miss of the week is Captain Planet issue 3, which lacked depth. Did you guess right? Have you read both, and did you have a favourite? Let me know in the comments. From one nerdy story to another, we leave our comics behind and we enter the book club. This week's book club takes us over the hot sands and down the valley to where the camels lay. We are looking at Pyramids by Terry Pratchett. Pyramids is about Tepic, an assassin in training who discovers that his father has suddenly passed away. His father turns out to be the king of an ancient kingdom, and Tepic has to step up and take his place. From the start, I found this book confusing. There are multiple storylines going on at once. From the get-go, we've got flashbacks to Tepic's childhood, his present-day training at the Assassin's Guild, and events in the kingdom with perspectives from the living priest and his deceased father. Combine that with Terry Pratchett's style of not using chapters, and it gets confusing very quickly. It also starts slow. It is halfway through the book before Tepic ever uses his assassin training in the main story, and even then it doesn't feel like it adds much to the storyline. There are some fantastic Pratchett moments. Describing someone as self-centered as a gyroscope was brilliant. Camels secretly being mathematicians was great, and the one-handed barber being single-handedly responsible for the king's beard was another standout moment. Some characters, however, felt frustrating. For example, Dios often twists the king's words, and the lack of pushback from the other characters, even the king, felt unrealistic and lacked common sense. And unlike Pratchett's usual shady or mysterious characters, this just didn't work for me. The later third of the book crams nearly everything in. Pyramids, time distortions, Troy parallels, Greek philosophy. There are many ideas, but they are given little room to breathe. I also lacked the background knowledge of ancient Egypt and Greece, which made it harder to connect with the satire and abstract concepts. I would call myself a Terry Pratchett fan, but this is not my favourite Discworld book. It probably worked better for readers who are really into their Egyptian history or philosophy. After this, I need a Pratchett break. The satire felt so layered and dense. I now want to read something grim and dark to help me relax before bed. Where does Pyramids fit in your ranking of Terry Pratchett books? Did you love it? And do you have knowledge of ancient Egypt to back that up? Let me know why you think I am wrong in the comments. Now, my tired brain needs something much more lighter than satirical ancient Egypt. Time to find out what's in the box, and I actually can't remember. I know it's Lego because I've been shaking it all morning and it's clearly full of little plastic bricks. Let's crack the seal and see what joys are inside. I'm also including this Toad's Pit Crew set in the video. I got it off eBay a little while ago, and it has been sat in my cupboard ever since. I was trying to figure out how to include such a small set in a video, so let's just pretend it was in the same box, and it will make all of us happier. Right. Okay, I remember now. This order has 3 items. It was a bit of a ridiculous purchase. First up, we have the Super Mario Soda Jungle Maker set. I have every single Lego Mario set. I started buying them during lockdown and found it a lot of fun. And because I have them all, it's hard to stop buying them, but I do secretly wish they would cancel the series. The innovation of the Mario sets has been dwindling catastrophically in my eyes. These sets are no longer that fun or cool. There's nothing hugely interactive, and there is quite a lot of repetition. The Soda Jungle set is a slight outlier because it's an expansion set. It adds pieces to bolster other Mario sets, but it's not particularly impressive on its own. Okay, second item. It's fallen apart a bit. There we go. Is a keychain minifigure of a Star Wars character. I have no idea about it. It was half price in the sale, and I had to spend 1 penny extra to get free postage. It was cheaper to add this $2.99 minifigure keychain to the basket than it was for postage. I'm not into Star Wars. If you want it, leave a comment with the name of this character, and if you're right, I'll pick one of you at random and send it your way. Okay, the third item was this Lego Mario Spiny Shell. This was an exclusive item and a free gift for spending over a certain amount. I bought the Jungle Soda set to get to that threshold. Combined with the keychain, I ended up buying 3 Lego sets just to get this one Lego set. If that's not clever marketing, I don't know what is. The Toad Pit Crew set was also an exclusive, which I picked it up on eBay after I missed it on the official site. I'm a huge fan of Lego. Adults building Lego is like the modern day jigsaw. It's therapeutic, it's relaxing, and it's a great winter activity. You can do it while watching films, and it keeps you engaged while helping you switch off from adult stresses. I reject all Lego prejudice. I will probably save these sets for the winter and build them when the nights are long and cold. So that's what was in the box. And that brings us towards the end of today's show. If you look back on your Saturday mornings fondly, then this is the place for you every Saturday morning. Forward this to a friend that you know misses Saturday mornings as much as we do, and let's make Saturday mornings the best time of the week once again. A new episode goes live at 9:30 a.m. every single week, and the highlights go on TikTok all week long. So give me a follow and help me make the Saturday morning TV revival everything that I know it can be. The more of you that follow, the bigger and better we can make this. I'll be back next week for more Like That Pokemon, more hit and miss, more bit by bit, and more Saturday morning goodness, so you can start your weekend in the way that you deserve. I've been Steve, and it's Saturday morning, baby.